Please listen carefully.
Hello, universe, and welcome to the Optimist Daily Update. I'm Kristy Jansen.
And I'm Arielle Tienko.
And we are part of the team behind the Optimist Daily, making solutions the news. We bring you reader-funded solutions news every day in order to help change the tenor of news media, social media, and the direction of your day to help us all get focused on solutions.
7 days a week, we publish positive news stories written by award-winning journalists and delivered online to your inbox and through our social channels. And also, we are sharing these solutions in a commute-worthy, walk-worthy, and home office-worthy podcast. Today is Monday, May 23rd, 2022.
I have to say, Arielle, home office. I was just complaining to you before we actually started recording. Now that I am starting to go back to the office some, and I have a couple new people that I'm working with in my office, so cramping my style. I'm trying to figure it out.
It's an adjustment, isn't it?
It's such an adjustment. And then there's the socializing. There's like the work socializing that's starting to happen again in full force.
Mm-hmm.
On Friday, I had an event I had to go to, and Sunday I had an event I had to go to. It's just like, all this people and things to do.
It can be quite draining. I myself am an introvert, so I know that if I have to socialize all the time, I just get exhausted, mentally exhausted. But I do have to say, I am in Amsterdam, and my office is always a home office. So I wish there was kind of like an in-between. We could do the hybrid office.
Yeah.
Although traveling from Amsterdam to California is a bit of a commute.
Well, I'll be there, in about 7 weeks. I'll come to your home office.
I know, and we'll finally get to meet each other in person.
That'll be good.
So exciting.
Cannot wait. I cannot wait. So it's this adjustment period it's going to take a while. And I think it's not like there's a normal to go back to, because I don't think that normal exists anymore. It's recalibrating and reorienting ourselves to what is it like to live in this world with COVID, which isn't going away. Mitigating risks. I keep seeing on the news that there's an outbreak of COVID right now. I know several people in my social world who've been dealing with COVID, and I don't know if you guys have a rise in cases over in Amsterdam right now, but we certainly do in California.
I honestly am not 100% sure. I haven't really looked into it. I know that in Canada they were experiencing a rise when I was back, so that was a bit nerve-wracking because I didn't know. You just never know these days what's going to happen, how governments are going to react.
Mm-mm.
But here in Amsterdam, it feels kind of forgotten. Maybe that's just where we are.
Mm-hmm. Well, in California, even though the headlines are saying, you might want a mask when you go inside again, there's not going to be any mandates.
Mm-hmm.
And people are just done with it. And my son is like, I'm never going to put a mask on if I can help it. I mean, I still will wear a mask when I go in a store right now because I'm just a little bit.
Whatever makes you more comfortable, really.
Yeah. That's just how life is going to be, I think, for now. In the meantime, I'm looking forward to my summer trip to visit you guys in Amsterdam and the other things I'm doing on that side of the Atlantic.
Yes, I am looking forward to seeing you as well.
But
speaking of seeing,
yes, let's go into the news. What's on our headlines today? You can go first.
So today I picked a story about glaucoma. The headline reads, "This contact lens releases glaucoma medication." And I'm pretty sure my mom told me that there's hereditary glaucoma on her side. So I would really rather not go blind one day. I know my grandma has already had to have some surgeries. So this was intriguing to me. Glaucoma, for those who don't know, is a serious eye disease that could damage the optic nerve and lead to blindness if it's left untreated.
It is treatable though, right?
It is definitely treatable. Open-angle glaucoma is the most common form of the disease, and research indicates that it affects about 10% of those over 75 years of age. However, there are researchers from China who've developed a contact lens that responds to an increase in eye pressure by releasing anti-glaucoma medicine, and that keeps pressure under a certain level. So this is pretty interesting to me because I actually don't like contact lenses. I've never tried them. I have this thing about touching my eyeball. We both wear glasses, Kristy. Do you wear lenses?
I did when I was a teenager and young adult, and then I had LASIK surgery. But now, as I've gotten older, my eyes have reverted to some extent.
Oh.
I used to wear contact lenses, and You get used to it. You don't have to worry.
Yeah, that's what everyone says. Like my little sister just pokes them in there.
Yeah.
It freaks me out. But, if I have to choose between blindness and having an eye contact lens in there, then I would choose the contact lenses.
Mhm.
All right. So the work was published in Nature Communications. And in that study, they explain that their device uses a snowflake-shaped pressure sensor and power source fitted between an upper and lower lens around the rim. And then an added aesthetic to the lens is that it appears to give the wearer's eyes the appearance of golden irises. So kind of like Twilighty.
Oh my goodness. This kind of sounds like a sci-fi thing. Like in sci-fi movies I watch, a lot of times it'll be the devices in the eye,
Yeah.
which helps people look things up on the internet or
Or like see-through walls.
see through walls. Right. It's like this, it's a different kind of vision, but this is kind of cool. So golden irises.
Yeah, I thought that could be kind of like a style thing too. And then if eye pressure increases, the gap between the two lenses decreases, and then the pressure sensor picks this up and sends a signal to the wireless system. It all sounds very, futuristic.
Yes.
And then this triggers a release of the anti-glaucoma drug from a hydrogel in this device. And the drug that reduces the pressure in the eye is brimonidine. Brimonidine, Brimonidine.
Promotidine. Yeah.
So far, the device has only been tested on pigs and rabbits, but it's been successful. So I suppose the next step will be to test on humans.
Very cool. Wow. That's kind of a cool little, med tech.
Yeah, I thought so.
I like it. If they master this, I'm sure there's other implications that it might have. I mean, this is great for glaucoma, but I wonder what else they could do with these kinds of lenses.
But yeah. What are you interested in talking about today?
So there's a number of really cool headlines today, which we'll read the whole roundup at the end of the pod. But the article that I wanted to talk about is a story we've been covering over the last couple of years. And on Friday, we talked about labor and the sort of recalibration of the labor markets in the United States. And this kind of carries along that, but it also has to do with gender. The headline reads, U.S. soccer and national teams reach agreement to close the gender pay gap. And this is a historic win for women's rights, for women's pay. The U.S. Soccer Federation and both the women's and men's national teams have agreed to a collective bargaining agreement which will close the gender pay gap and ensure that each player, regardless of gender, will be paid equally. So it's going to be a leveling up for the women's salaries. This collective bargaining agreement is the final step in a years-long journey towards securing the new policy of equal pay within the U.S. soccer and national teams, which we have been following for a couple of years as the women who are real worldwide superstars, the women's soccer team, and they've won many World Cup championships compared to the men's team, which hasn't. They sometimes don't even make it to finals, or they don't even make it to the tournament sometimes, because men's soccer in the United States is just not that big of a deal, whereas women's soccer is a really big deal, and a lot of talent is in that channel, and they're fantastic players and beautiful to watch. Anyway, I just think this is a great finish to this, years-long struggle. It really was driven by the women on the U.S. champion team saying, hey, listen, we're winning the championships, but we get paid a fraction of what the men get paid to not win. So in these new terms, the World Cup prize money will be pooled and shared equally among the men's and women's teams. For the first time, the women's team, which has won the last 2 women's World Cups and 4 overall, will be paid at the same rate for game appearances and tournament victories as the men's team, which has historically and persistently failed to even get close to that kind of success. And then in terms of the prize money that's at stake for the men's team is, 6 times higher than the women's, what the women can earn, because the women can earn up to $4 million. The men can earn up to $38 million. So now that's going to be split evenly among the various teams. And the new agreement will also contain a new revenue sharing agreement, which could see the players receive millions more of their cut of the U.S. soccer commercial revenues each year, because the women also earn less just for showing up, but they also earn less for media appearances and such. By the way, this is the first for the U.S. soccer team, but women's soccer in general has been already, in some other countries, has already gotten close to this. Norway and Australia have signed and sort of explain that they're equal pay deals for match payments, but it doesn't address the total compensation gap in Norway or Australia to the same extent that the US soccer deal does. Anyway, it's just kind of a cool moment in up-leveling gender pay out there for the world to see. And it's been a long struggle. Way to go, women's soccer, I think, to have made this stride. And it's just fair. It just makes sense.
I mean, watching the sports world is a really interesting arena as gender becomes more fluid. I mean, to be honest, have never really watched a lot of sports. I'm not necessarily like the sports fan, but seeing how gender is changing and how sports is one of these places where gender is always separated, I just am curious to see the developments and more solutions that will come out of this field. So really cool one to look at.
It's like a beacon for the rest of the work world in terms of women's equal pay, at least a start. All right. So a few other headlines on today's Optimist Daily. There's some really fun ones. I'm going to start with the second half here. We almost talked about this, but there's a headline that reads, engineering students create tasty tape, which is edible tape to help keep burritos secure.
A very practical invention.
Very practical, and exactly the kind of thing I can imagine engineering students coming up with. Speaking of food, give your mood a boost with these 5 superfoods. In a first, gene editing has been carried out in cockroaches. I'm wondering what kind of upgrades they gave to the cockroaches. That edit. New program seeks to break the cycle between jail and homelessness. Really crucial question there. What else is on today's headlines, Arielle?
Well, there's a new immunotherapy drug combo that slows liver cancer growth in mice. These mental health stories will inspire you. How a century-old cargo schooner is bringing back emissions-free shipping. And damn, Europe removes record number of river barriers in 2021. And that's damn, D-A-M. That was not a curse.
I love it.
All right, all of that and more is available on the Optimist Daily Update. We promise to continue to share positive, solution-based stories with ideas on how you can participate in this changing world and ensure it is changed for the good. We also promise to cover the current events with accuracy, legitimate sources, and offer you the information needed most to chart new paths for all of us.
And if you haven't already, please consider becoming an emissary on theoptimistdaily.com. And for starting at just $5 a month, you can participate in reader-supported independent journalism. That is The Optimist Daily, and help us keep The Optimist Daily free for everyone, supported by those of us who can. You can support us for free as well by sharing us on your social media feeds, forward stories to friends, talk to everyone in your community about The Optimist Daily, leave a positive review on the podcast, Apple, Spotify, share that also with your friends and family. And listen to us and just reach out. Let us know what you think, and if you have ideas of articles that we can cover, good solutions from your communities that you feel like the world needs to know about, you can reach out to us at editorial@optimistdaily.com. Be part of the solution-changing consciousness that addresses our world's biggest challenges with a problem-solving mindset. Thanks, everybody. That's it for today, and we'll be back tomorrow with more solutions.
Bye.